All right, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, kicking off your 2 o'clock hour. All right, everyday Lloyd and I, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people that get texts from Trevor Reilly, just to kind of check in on everybody's, religious enthusiasm. And by the way, Trevor, Lloyd appreciates them, and he's coming a little closer to the big man upstairs, thanks to you.
Well, we're all trying, ain't we? Appreciate you, Lloyd, for being a holy man.
Always, Trev. Always.
You're gonna get him in that font. You know what's gonna happen someday.
I tell you, I ain't recruiting nobody. Lloyd's recruiting. Lloyd works for the church, for heaven's sakes. He knows what's up. He's been investigating for a decade. We're ready for him, waiting on him. He's all right. He'll be there.
Yeah, we'll get you there. Hey, how you doing? Everything good in your life?
I'm fantastic. I'm about ready to take a personal trainer job here in Waimea, Hawaii. Moved out here with the wife. And I've been hanging out with Robert Blecken the last couple of days and a couple coaches from the Islanders, Brian Blecken and Senny. We ran a football camp out here on the Big Island with Kai Po. We had Kai Po there representing the Cava Lounge downtown. And we've been good. We had about 40 kids. So life's good. We're training kids, and I'm living in Hawaii. I can't complain. My daughter's playing pretty good basketball, too. She's got state playoffs coming up in California. Scotty, you got your own show. I think life's pretty good, man.
Yeah, I can't complain. We're treated well. Hey, I had a chance to chat with Morgan last week, and it seems like he's in a good place. It seems like now that the dust is cleared a little bit, he can really focus in on building this team. Now that you've seen the dust clear a little bit, and Morgan's got his staff, how do you like that staff, and how much do you think that team suffers the loss of Witt next year? Do they just keep it rolling like it's been over the last decade?
I think the most important position group we need to look at is the offensive line and the defensive line going through next season. Losing Jim Harding, as we all know around here, was a big deal. Probably the best offensive line coach in the country. Been courted the NFL multiple times. He's going back home in a way, right? He's from Ohio. That position group, right, they did a good job putting Jordan in there, and obviously he brought a big recruit with him. But he hired a guy, I'm getting to the point about the staff, named Mr. Gerke.
Yeah.
Okay, and Mr. Gerke was there a long time ago, and you want to talk about, he's like a secret weapon. He knows the secret sauce to winning. He's helping out that offensive line with Coach Gross. And then we got the defensive line group, okay? They're going to have to reload there losing Lewis Powell. I like the guy they got. He was at Pittsburgh. He used to coach Aaron Donald. He used to coach with T.J. Watt as well at Wisconsin. This guy knows a few things. So those are the two groups I'm looking at. Those are two splash hires, and we got a big shoes to fill, right?
No doubt. And the question is, in terms of Jordan Gross, and I love that Coach Gerke's there, and when I heard that, I'm like, okay, it's going to be all right. Because it's one thing to be able to play the game at a high level and have all the talent in the world, but how difficult is it to translate what you know and actually disseminate that in the terms of coaching? Because not all guys can coach, even if they're highly talented.
That's exactly right. Remember Magic Johnson? What was that, 94, 95? He lasted 30 games. Michael Jordan's never hopped in there. Larry Bird's one of the few exceptions, talking about basketball. And in football, we're seeing it with Deion a little bit. We're seeing it with some other guys. Jordan Gross, his reputation is a very highly intellectual person who has freak athletic ability. So we're going to see if he can communicate. I think he can based on the high school level. He just trained the best recruit in the country at the position. And he's known as a guy who doesn't mess around. So that is the thing that we're going to be all looking at, right? We led the nation in rushing last year. Where do you go from there, right? Any step behind is a step backwards. So they got big shoes to fill. I think that Jordan's going to be great, though. The D-line is another animal, right? They got a new coordinator over there, Mr. Swan. I think Morgan will have a big say what's going on. And then you got Chad Bumpus at receivers, who I used to work with intimately. He was a GA under Doc Holliday years ago. He was at Mississippi State. Great guy. A lot of energy, the all-time leading receiver, I think, in Mississippi State history. He's a good communicator. What I want to know, Scotty, where do you see this team going forward? Is they going to have an issue at quarterback? No. Running back, he's probably the best player on the team. The position's always going to be this. What do we do at receiver? What did we get in receiver? Last year we didn't have a great room. The year before was average. That's the room I'm looking at always going forward for the Utah Utes. What are we doing at receiver, and what's the plan?
Well, there's one receiver that I saw a lot that was at Utah State last year that was a near a 1,000-yard receiver, and had he played in the bowl game, he would have broken 1,000. And, Braden Pagan is a really good receiver. Now, that's at the Mountain West level. When you take up a step to the Big 12 and you're getting harassed by corners that like to jam you at the line, that's going to be another question, because there's going to be a level of physicality that he didn't experience at the Mountain West level.
That's exactly right. And that kid's really good. I've heard a lot of good things about him. I saw him play a couple times. We took a kid out of New Mexico last year, Mr. Davis. He was all right. To your point, that level, sometimes there's a shift there. I remember COC Mariner. He went down to Utah State, became all-world. He was pretty good at Utah. Mm-hmm. So we'll see about that. The spring was a big indicator for us last year on the quarterback. I wasn't sold on him because he's short until I saw him in the spring, and he looked great. So I'm looking forward to this spring. I want to see that room perform, and I want to see this defensive line room and offensive line room. Those are the three spots and those new hires where I could be some question marks. I'm a believer in what we got going on, but that's a lot of talent to replace. How many linemen? I think I did the math, including the Sam backer and the tight end. We're replacing 12 or 13 guys on the front line. That's a lot.
Well, and especially when you got your anchors on your offensive line that both of them are expected to go in the first round of the draft, you're not going to replace that overnight. Those are two first-round picks. That just doesn't happen when your right tackle and left tackle both go in the first round.
Say that one more time, Scotty.
I'm just saying, how difficult is it going to be to try to replace? Because I don't think you can. If you can get close to, great. But when you have two guys, your two tackles that are expected to go in the first round of the NFL draft, you just don't replace that overnight.
Of course not. Those guys might go top 10. I got the pleasure to go visit with Mr. Fano. We have the same agent in Orange County. He looked unbelievable. And I know all about Mr. Lomu. My brother coached him in high school, at Highland High School. Those two kids come around maybe, once every 15 years? I think Jordan Gross was really the last one, him and Mr. Bowles. But, we've had a rich tradition there. So it's hard to say, Scotty, but I know this. A freshman in offensive line, left tackle, when's the last time that was done at Utah?
Ended up being pretty good.
Yep.
All right, Trevor Reilly, kind enough to join us from Hawaii, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, best food in Hawaii. Ready to go.
Poi. It's made from taro plant, but I like poi, and obviously you got Kahlua pork. Anything pig related, man. They're running like wild out here. We went and hunted a little bit yesterday, but anything that comes from the pig seems to be pretty good.
I love it. Only Trevor Reilly be hunting pigs out in Hawaii. Those wild boars, man, you don't mess with those.
Nah, man, they're huge, dude. If you don't stay light on your feet, they'll ram you. We had Blecken and Senny out there doing it yesterday, and I got to tell you, man, this place is special. Okay, we've had a lot of great players out here. I can't help but think about Coach Mack and just the start of this thing, and where Utah is at now. Michigan just fires their AD or their general manager and Coach Witz over there. Utah is a national story. BYU has this stuff going on. Football in itself for the state of Utah, it's pretty exciting, man. We got a lot of storylines even going into the spring.
How, for you that played with for Kyle Whittingham, and he's always going to have a special place in your heart, how are you with the Michigan thing? I mean, does it hurt a little bit? Is there a little bit of like, okay, I'm happy for you, but I'm also not very happy for you? Like, what are your emotions on that as a former player?
It's tough. The hard thing is you love him so much as a coach, right? And not everybody loved Coach Witt, but I loved him. I thought he was awesome. But he's in the job. Coach and Dion said it best. You're either getting fired or you're getting hired. I think we saw that happen, in a weird way over the last couple of months. But to see him at Michigan, it feels good to have one of our guys there. Even BYU can celebrate Coach Witt. He's one of their great all-time players. And I think it's pretty this Utah, because however Michigan does, that's going to be a storyline connected to Utah, especially with all the players they took over there and the coaches.
You were at Utah when Jay Hill was still there, correct? Or had he already left for Weber? Yeah.
No, I was there with him for all 5 years, man. Jay was our special teams coordinator.
What makes him such a great coach?
He's attention to detail and he's intense. I always make the comment, he likes to exercise more than anyone I ever met coaching. And he does the same type of fanaticism when he coaches. He's fanatic about details and effort. And that's what you want from a coach, man. He makes you do what you're supposed to do at a high level of effort. He's been successful. I'm still shocked he's not a head coach, man. I don't know what that's all about. I mean, you would know better than me, Scotty. What is that? Why isn't Jay Hill a head coach?
I think that he's I know for a fact that Utah State offered him, and that he came very close to taking the Utah State job last year, and he turned it down and decided to stay at BYU, and then Utah State went and got Bronco Mendenhall. I think there's been opportunities. I think he just was in a good situation at BYU and decided, you know what, I'm just going to ride this out and wait for the perfect opportunity, and who knows, maybe in 2 years he's the head coach in Michigan.
That could be a thing. I think he's got a lot of good things coming with his health scare. His wife's fantastic. I'm impressed with the whole operation that they got going on at Michigan. They just fired their whole personnel staff. That means they're rehiring. I think that they're going to rebuild and set the tempo, set the standard for what scouting is going to look like in college football. They have unlimited money. They have a new head coach, and they have a new strategy now. I'm kind of excited about that.
How much – we talk about money and unlimited money, and we talk about NIL, but you've been in the middle of this. Just how much, when you have that blank check to go out and get whoever you want, just how much of an advantage does that give you over a team that may be a Power 4 school and may have some good resources, but nowhere near to the level of what Michigan has?
You know, it's like gambling. You go to the casino, you know you're probably going to lose, but you might win every once in a while, Scotty. You go there, I hit after tonight. You try to go back, you're probably going to lose. And that's how it is when you're playing with no money. When you're at the middle of the road or you're at the bottom, just like the NBA, is there a worse place to be, Scotty, for the Jazz right now?
Nope.
You're either winning or you're losing in college football. And the hard thing is that if you lose 3 games, sure, your season's over. Utah saw that last year. Lost 2 games, the season's over. So when you talk about that margin of error, you got to have your money tight. If not, you're gambling. So you're going to have a few schools that reach that type of, oh, sure, we broke the BCS, so we're going to get in. But it's really just it's few and far between. And to your point about Colorado, we're seeing that play out over there. They're a bad season away from everybody getting let go maybe.
Yeah.
And the reason why isn't anything more. They don't have any money. Utah's figuring that out. We talked about it ad nauseum. BYU's figured it out. Michigan's figured it out. We're on our way at Utah, though. I think we're getting organized, okay? I've been into some meetings, and we're on the right path. I think that this private equity deal. By the way, Scotty, what's the latest with that? Has that been approved? Are we going to get audited like we did when we decided we didn't want to play BYU about 10 years ago? Remember they audited the athletic department? Well, and I do know be an audit situation.
It frankly wouldn't surprise me because I do know, and when that deal went down, or at least it was announced, I had a couple of state legislators that I know that sent me a text and said, "Oh, we're gonna dig into this. We're not sure if we're cool allowing a public university to essentially sell part of its athletic department to a private equity." So, and then all of a sudden it's gone quiet, Trevor. Like, we haven't heard a word. So I don't know what's going on. I don't think Utah has access to any of that money yet. So I don't know where it's at. We got to do a little digging on that. I appreciate the heads up because, we may not be doing our due diligence here on the station and trying to follow up and see what's up.
Well, there's some conspiracy theorists that think that maybe it was all a ruse just to get the attention off the debt. We knew it was never going to go through. We put it out there. It dies down, and then we're back at square one. Everyone's in debt, which is what the message is, by the way. All college football programs, for the most part, that aren't top, blue chippers, they're in debt.
Yeah.
And I'm bringing this up again. I feel like the Grinch. It's still Christmas because we just had a great season. We got a new staff. Everybody's excited. I'm still concerned about our finances going forward. As a GM, can you imagine? You don't know what your salary cap is next season, Scotty. How do you recruit?
Yeah, you can't.
How do you make plans?
Yeah.
And you end up becoming what's called a last-minute Jerry, dude. Everything's done last minute, and somehow it works. Sometimes it doesn't. I don't like that. I don't play that, dude. So I walked away from a situation like that, and a lot of people don't feel that way. We're on the right path, I think. To your point, we got to check in on that one. We, the people, got to check in on they're going to sell away 40%, 2 board seats, and a bunch of money. What are we doing about that? And to me, Scotty, to put that deal in a nutshell, because a friend of mine always says radio's not linear. When you talk about giving away 2 board seats and a large amount of your say in how you're going to run your business, as a government entity, right, that is a serious thing. Imagine just all of a sudden someone saying, we're going to we're going to go ahead and contract out the military. We know that hasn't worked out well in times past. We've got to have a lot of oversight. You're talking about money. So I want to see where that goes, right? A lot of the reporters in town have been digging around. I know the holidays are over, but, Scotty, what are we doing about these finances? That's always the number one question. What's the plan?
Well, and you talk about the last minute, Jerry, and I think that's really where a lot of schools are right now, and the ones that have the competitive edge know exactly how much money they have, know exactly what they can work with, and they've got a plan, and they're organized, and they can go forward. I talked to an athletic director who said, essentially told his coaches, like, look, go spend money, and I'll try to find a way to raise it. And it's like, well, wait a minute.
Yeah, what is that, dude?
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Baseball, dude. That ain't no nothing real, man. We did that in Colorado and everywhere, and Utah has done it. It's a disaster. You find out, by the way, all y'all around town, all these people who say they write checks, they don't.
Yeah.
There's a few people who write some checks around town. Don't let anybody get it twisted. I'm talking about serious money. I'm talking about $1 million plus money, the money that you need. So to your point, Scotty, if you don't have those guys in your back pocket, you're literally just flailing in the wind, man. We're going to raise some money. We'll figure it out. What the freak, man? What is that?
Trevor, I love chatting with you, man. You're the best. I can't thank you enough.
Thanks for having me on, guys. And Lloyd, we'll have lunch when I come back into town, all right?
You got it, Trev.
And Trevor's going to bring a couple dudes in white shirts and ties with him.
Hey, Scotty, you're already in the building, dude. You got it?
I know. I'm with you. We'll work on him together. It's all good.
All right, boys. Thank you, guys.
Hey.
I'm on a bus headed to Kilauea. They want me to get off this phone.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll let you do your thing. There he is. Trevor Reilly, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.